And we're live. Cool.
Yay!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to DevRunner. My name is Paul. I'm a 52-year-old endurance runner. I am a running coach, and I am a proud member of the Masters of YouTube who have gathered here tonight to have some fun. So um, if you're watching this live, please join us by chat. If you are watching this after the fact, please drop a comment below and we will get to you hopefully sooner than later. We are going to talk about all kinds of things, whatever happens to come up. But I want to get things started, first of all, by letting everybody introduce themselves and talk about what's been going on your channel lately. Brian, let's start with you.
Yeah, I am Brian Rosser from Rosser Runs, and I do ultras, so I'm the long distance guy, I guess. I do specialize like 50 miles, 100K, 100 milers, stuff like that. This year got some big races set up. My A race is going to be World's End 100K that I normally do. It's a big race in Pennsylvania. It's about like 12,000 feet a gain, and it's 100K. I've run it like 7 times, favorite course. In July, I'm thinking about doing 150 miles for suicide prevention in 48 hours. So that's my year set up, and you can catch me out on like Instagram and TikTok and all that shit. So I'm a little bit more vulgar than the others as well. So
hey man, tell it like it is. Be real, right? Cool, man. So first of all, I want to say that's very cool that you have planned out. It sounds like well into the future for your racing and your running. That's awesome.
Yeah, I set up structure and goals because of my crazies and stuff like that. That if I don't have some type of structure, my bipolar like trips really hard, and if I don't have something to focus on, it's a coping mechanism in the right way, So like I have giant goals, and then I set up little goals so I don't sleep the day away. If you look at me right now, I just woke up from a nap because I had the day off. When I have time, I just pass out. So
Hi, Andrew.
I got you. Hey, Andrew, how's it going?
Yeah, that's me.
All right. All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep up with the chat window and everything that's going on in real time here. So, all right, Heather, I'm hoping you can introduce yourself and talk about what's going on with you on your channel.
Okay, well, I'm Heather. My channel is Running Geek Girl, and that's my name on everything. I have recently finished a couple of marathons, and I'm kind of a slow and steady runner, very, very, very average runner. I'm very mid to back of the pack, so I focus a whole lot on that of just being a strong mid to back of the pack runner, and kind of exploring longer distances right now. I started just a little bit of trail running last year, and so I'm delving more into that this year, and recently announced that I've signed up for my first 50K, so I'm starting training for that. So there's some of that on my channel as well. And looking at later in the year, there's a couple of half marathons that I'm looking at doing, and so just kind of keeping up with training and making sure that I can handle all that.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I'm so glad that you talked about the 50K that you've got coming up because, first of all, that series is going to be amazing. I cannot wait to watch you progress towards that. And I think the fact that you're going after a 50K all by itself proves that you are nowhere near an average runner. You're quite incredible to be able to do something like that. That's far beyond anything I've tried. So, well, let's see what we've got. We're starting to get some comments coming in.
Hello, Richard.
Here. Frozen Austin, Texas. Wow. How's it going, Richard?
Yeah, they're supposed to get another bad storm like last year. Good luck out there, man. Last year, everything shut down.
Yeah. So cool. Before we jump into it with my first subject, guys, I'm just going to let everybody know what's going on my channel, which is DevRunner, the very channel you're watching right now, everybody. Also, the DevRunner on Instagram. I'm Paul DeVillo on Strava, and now, as of like a month ago, there is now a DevRunner Run Club on Strava.
Yay!
It's a very small, tight-knit group. so far, but it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of sharing going on, a lot of people posting stories and stuff, which is nice. It's a great way to kind of speak amongst runners about very runner things. So I'm enjoying that so far. Oh yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Conversation
to the
going on
algorithm.
in front-
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, I'm basically I'm in the midst of a training block, a very short training block for
For a
another
revenge marathon.
Yeah, my revenge marathon. And you know, this week that we're in right now is a down week for mileage for me. I built up to 80 miles last week, and now I'm dropping down to like 64 miles this week. And I tell you guys, thank goodness for the down week, because I am feeling utterly burnt out. Like I just finished like a short 7-miler on the treadmill earlier tonight. With like moderate speed, and it felt like I was just made out of lead weights. It was just something else. So with that, I want to kind of use that statement as kind of a jumping in point for us, because I know the three of us are kind of in various different states of health and running ability right now. So I'm hoping that we can just have a conversation and let it go where it wants to. But let's start off talking about coming back from injury or post-race recovery, because I'm in a state now where I feel like I finished that 18-week training block that started last summer, and I ended up running a marathon in December, took a week off, just 7 days off, got sick with something that I'm at this point convinced was COVID, even though I came up negative twice. And I jumped right into another shorter training block. And I think that's why I am so wiped out. I think my body just didn't get a chance to just kind of, get healthy again. And hopefully I pull through anyway, but I think I'm an example of doing the wrong thing. So I'd like to know, Brian, I know you're coming back from injury, you're fighting back from injury, and Heather, I think you took a more healthy approach after your last Disney marathon. So I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on how to do it right, and how how things are going in general.
Yeah, I can speak to that very heavily, because first of all, the mileage that you're putting in for marathon training is very parallel to what I put in for like my 100-milers and stuff like that. For like 100K, 50-miler and stuff like I'm not putting in probably over 50 miles a week. For the 100-milers, wear and tear and stress and stuff like that, like back-to-backs on the weekends, like a 2020 or something like that. Just to keep the legs moving when they're stressed. I've had a few weeks that I've done like 100-mile weeks, just, to torture yourself and have a good time at the same time. But for the most part, I'm not putting in 75 plus miles for my ultras. It's those maybe like peak weeks for some training. So the wear and tear on my body like really beats me down. Running just in general is, even though I could do like long distances and run for like hours and days, it's all mental stuff for me. So like the physical aspect, I definitely have to find a better balance, as what you're saying, because I throw in a lot of hard races. I do a lot of good training going up to them, and when they're done, especially for the fall winter season, which I'm like coming out of winter season now, starting to prepare for like spring and summer. But when I'm out of that, my crazies go really bad, seasonal depression at the same time. Like I get hit with a blizzard of the crazies that come on. And I believe a lot of that is after certain races, my battery is dead. Like I really don't run at all. I don't want to go out. Like I just sleep and eat and get fat and lazy as a recovery. But I believe that's because I'm doing like things that require your whole like soul to complete, that it really really drains you. So I do take a lot of time off after I might take 2 weeks off with a sprinkle of like I'll go out for a run, but like might not even take my watch or anything, just so I'm not tracking and pushing anything. But uh, I, I get a lot of downtime after like big events because I'm more emotionally drained than I am physically drained, and that takes time to recover. And if you don't do it the right way, you do get sick. And my body does. I believe it's made out of glass, so running trail, I have to be a little bit more delicate with myself. But it's never going to happen. It's just going to break and be duct taped for the rest of my life, I think.
No, that's really interesting. I'm just kind of wondering, like, beyond just having enough time off after a race, just to give your body a chance to recover and give your mind and your soul kind of like a little bit of breathing room. Once you decide you're going to start ramping again, how do you do that? Like in the ultra world, is that something where it's just gradual rebuilding of mileage and intensity, or what kind of order does that happen?
It all depends on your goals and what you have. Some people, I know it's popular to my friends and I that we do progressive stuff. Like in April, I'm probably going to do like a 50 miler, and then I'll probably do like a giant day similar to that of just elevation. Try to get like 10,000 feet of elevation in a run before like my big race, and after that race is done, it just goes by feel, because a lot of times I'll be sitting here and be, it's really nice out, or we're going through a hurricane or something. I'm going to put on my shoes and I just go out, and it's no particular mileage or time frame. It's enjoying the love of running and getting back out there. And when that turns back on, then I'm able to get game plans going. Like, I could probably run like 2 or 3 times this week. That'd feel cool. Just go out for a few miles. I might do 10, 15 miles each run, or 3 miles each run, So it's whatever the universe tells me to do that day, until I get back into a flow or a schedule, and then I jump into that.
So that's so interesting. I really like that, because I'm the personality type where I'll like schedule things out and do my utter best to stick to it, and that's why I'm in the mess that I'm in now. It's because it looked good on paper. It's not working in reality, but
that's difficult. Things on paper, I tend to set too many goals or too many big goals, so I try to limit them, because when I get into my manic modes of I could do anything. I could run 5 days straight. Let's run 600 miles or something, and then I break down a huge scenario. Like that's when I get in those manic, crazy things. So I try to break down like 2 or 3 big things a summer, knowing that I might complete 2 of them and train for them.
That's pretty cool. Now, Heather, I'm very curious, because you're in the same boat. You just finished like I said earlier, the Disney marathon, and here you are talking about going into a 50K ultra. How long did you take to just downtime, like with like no real training, before you jump back in?
Usually what I did after Little Rock Marathon and what I did after Disney Marathon was I spent 1 week just walking. And that way it wasn't just like completely doing nothing, because I would go crazy if I just sat at home doing nothing. I would just feel really unsettled not doing anything. And with walking, that's that active recovery, still keeping things moving but not putting too much stress. It's a different set of muscles that you're using. So a week of just sticking to walking, just so I can get outside, I can be moving and not put too much stress on myself, because there's no speed to it. And I remember towards the end of the week, I was thinking, ooh, I could run this mile. And I'd be like, no, just chill,
Discipline.
Take it easy. And then after a week, then I say, okay, I'm going to run, like I'll walk a mile and then run a half mile, walk another mile, run a half mile. And then the next day, maybe walk a mile, run a mile, walk a mile, run a mile. And then change it to walk a mile and then run 2 miles or 3 miles and then walk a mile. And then I build that back up and just keep adding to it until I'm able to do a 10K by the end of the week. And from there, I just kind of resume regular training at that point.
That's very cool. Now, do you find that for both of you guys, do you find that if you're working with that kind of schedule for the physical exercise, does your heart and soul follow along, or like, you know, I don't know if I'm saying that clearly. Like, does your motivation, your inspiration to actually be exercising again sort of?
It's kind of funny because like the easiest way to make me want to run is to tell me that I'm not allowed to run. So
all right, we got that in common.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
No, once again, I go until everything is a little bit more balanced, to where I might go out knowing that I should be starting training soon. I try to get out, and then I just go when I'm motivated, to where it becomes like more fun and therapeutic again, because then I'll get into the mode where like I have to run at least 5 days a week, or like I don't wear out the right things, you know. As I said, therapeutically, like I get to a point where I need to run.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah, I feel terrible when I don't run. Like if I miss a day, like
I'm off. Yeah.
Not even when I'm like, you know, like even if I'm between training blocks, I like to. I won't say run every day, but like when I'm just kind of free, like in that sort of late spring before you even start thinking about your fall marathon training block, which usually starts in like late June for me. When you're in that sort of somewhere in May, and you don't have to be out there every day. I still find that if I'm not running 6 days a week, I'm just like lost. I just don't have no idea what to do with myself. I start to feel really weird, and I don't know about you guys. I'm actually I didn't really think about this as like a subject matter for tonight, but I would love to pick your guys' brains about how eating works for you. Like, because for me, anybody who's been following this latest training block vlog of mine knows that I seem to have literally come off the rails when it comes to late night snacking and sugar by the gallon, or sugar by the mountain full, and that's with training going on, and,
right.
And I think that's even when I'm between training blocks, like I was saying before. If I don't run, I just feel like I have no reason not to just put the pounds on as fast as I can, because it just seems like when I'm under natural conditions, non-running conditions, my whole life has been kind of like I don't necessarily enjoy it, but I find myself just kind of being
human,
at least 20 pounds overweight. You know what I mean? Like
human, yeah.
Yeah, more or less, right? But like, yeah, it's like I like to eat till I'm full. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like to eat till I know I've gotten the nutrients in. Every time I sit down to a meal, I want to just keep on until my stomach is like pushing out pretty good. And how does that work for you guys? Like, are you naturally more attuned? What are your tips and your tricks, if there are any?
Yeah, I during my down season now, I usually put on a lot of extra weight. So like I'm about 20 pounds more than what I would race at, and which really affects training, because as I jump back into things, I'm 20 pounds more on my weight, and I have less muscle. So I become injury prone then, because I still think I'm 20 pounds lighter and full of muscle, and I'm not. And I normally eat like 80-20 rule, like 80%, like I know what I'm putting in my body, and I put in good stuff. And then 20% is when I'm out with my friends or family, and they're like, oh, we're going to go get a hoagie or a sub, whatever anybody wants to call it. And like I just eat what everybody else eats, because I'm not going to be first place podium. So I don't have to diabolically break everything down to the macros and micros of
Right,
everything.
right.
So, but I do eat very healthy when I'm training because I do feel that I'm not eating to cure hunger. I'm eating to fuel my body properly. So that's what when I'm like in training mode like that. So like I'm not eating for the shut off valve that goes off in your head to say I'm full. This is what I'm putting in my system. Like I almost know my calories that are going in, and I almost know my proteins and my carbs. Uh, I just have a good general thing. And then for cravings, like you were saying, that sugar, I chop up a shitload of fruit, like
Mhm.
things that are sugary, like pineapples, or I do a lot of pineapple and cantaloupe and things like that. And
Very cool. Very
when
cool.
I'm when I get my sugar craves, because I used to drink a lot of soda or eat cereal and stuff that I don't anymore, your body's used to that extra rush of sugar, and I grab a handful of fruit because it's pre-chopped up then, and that usually switches the sugar craving.
Wow. Okay, I'm stealing that idea. And before Heather, before I let you jump in, I just want to say hey to Sharon. She's awesome.
Hi, Sharon. Sharon is my mother-in-law's name. That's a good name.
Cool. Heather, thank you, Brian. I'm stealing the fruit idea, and that's what's going to happen as soon as we turn off the cameras here tonight, and I go kind of wandering towards the fridge. That's what I'm going to do to try to get away from the Little Debbie cakes.
Yeah. No, I understand that part. My kids and stuff like that, we had a cupboard full of crap, that I wouldn't buy, but it was there. So at times they'd have some type of good chocolate something, and it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'll eat that, even though it's like for like a Little Debbie thing might be like 300-400 calories of like sugar, though, so you're getting in calories of like mass destruction. You eat 2 packs of them, and that's like more than 2 meals that you're eating just of cupcakes.
Mhm.
Yep.
All
I
right.
know it well. Heather, what can you tell us about?
Well, I am an over planner. And so at the beginning of every month, I have meal plans set up for every single week of the month and what I'm going to have
Wow.
for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then I prep at the beginning of the week and I portion everything out into how much I'm going to eat. And I try to keep in mind events that are coming up where, like, if I know I'm going to, like, a meal, like a party or somewhere, like at, my mother-in-law's or something like that, because she fixes a lot of food. And so if I know I have something coming up like that, then I'll shrink down portions for the earlier part of the day and then go ahead and indulge myself that night. And I kind of do what Brian does as far as I don't really keep snacks in the house at all. I mean, obviously, I have kids and a husband that eat snacks, and so I just keep the stuff that they eat that I know I don't like. And then I keep fruit right at eye level in the fridge. So when I open up the fridge, it's just right
That's
there.
great.
So I don't
Brilliant.
even
That's
have to look
brilliant.
for it. It's just right there.
That's so
And
great.
of course, on top of that, water, a lot of water. Because a lot of times when I think I'm hungry, I'm really just thirsty.
Good point too. Good point too.
I
Wow.
agree with
Okay.
that.
I just came away with 3
Yeah,
great ideas just from asking you guys.
substituting a lot of your hunger pains by filling yourself up with the proper hydration that we probably don't do to begin with. And now, and we're athletes, uh, we should be hydrating more than the average person that doesn't meet their, you know, typical
Absolutely.
hydration level that they should be like 8 or 10 glasses or something they want on average. I don't do that. Maybe iced
Yeah.
tea.
It's
But I
funny.
always,
I had a teacher in high school once. It was a health teacher that said a lot of times when you think you're hungry, and you're just like, man, I'm hungry. I will eat anything. Then ask yourself, would I eat an apple right now? And if the answer to that is yes, then yes, obviously you're hungry. Go get an apple. But, I would eat anything right now, but no, I don't want an apple. No, you're just craving junk right now is what you're doing.
Yeah.
So find something else to do. Get a drink,
Or
find
you're
something healthy
bored.
to eat. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
a
could
lot of
be
people
bored.
eat. Yeah, a lot of people eat because they're bored. I know a lot of times like I'll eat something, do a bunch of stuff, and then be like, you know what, I'm hungry, and I go to eat again. I'm like, damn it, I just ate like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, Richard agrees. Yeah.
Carbonated water's good. Mhm.
Yeah, I've found that I've really in the last year started really enjoying those La Croix flavored
Mhm.
waters. Oh man, they've saved me several pounds around my midsection. So
I drink a lot of iced tea, like the bad kind, like the sugar
oh
scoop.
yeah.
And my
So
latest
good.
addiction is the zero sugar Dr. Pepper. That's my latest addiction.
I used to
Oh,
drink
yeah.
Dr. Pepper by the case, like a day.
Oh,
My
yeah.
wife really likes that stuff. So it used to be around a lot, but
I drink that
Yeah,
during
I used to
my
get-
races. I usually, if I have crews, I usually do bacon cheeseburgers and Dr. Pepper and Middlesworth barbecue chips. I don't know if you guys know Middlesworth. That might be a Pennsylvania thing.
This is mid-race you're talking about here?
Yeah, like 50 miles or so. I'll eat two
Amazing.
bacon cheeseburgers, and I'll have like a Dr. Pepper or two, because you have different levels of depends on the race, but I have different like win points throughout the race. Like, oh, mile 35, that's like you get there, like, and you're that's like a strong point for me. If I get by there, it's almost smooth sailing. And then like mile 50, it's like, all right, for like 100K
See,
or something.
that's the thing about ultras is that it's very hard to replace the calories that you're burning off, especially the later you get in the race when your body kind of doesn't want solid foods anymore.
Yeah. But certain things are you crave as like rewards. Like I know I have a bacon cheeseburger and a Dr. Pepper sitting there for me, so I might think about that for like 5 hours during a race. Like, oh, I'm gonna eat that burger. I can't wait to like, and like I don't eat, like I eat meat and stuff like that. Bacon is meat from the gods, but like I don't eat too much meat. But certain times, like I crave, like certain pictures will come in my head and you'll be stuck on them for like hours. So at least I know like what I'm my body is used to and can handle for what it needs there. So like tons of calories and some protein that it's craving, I guess. But like it's a usual when you're crewing me, that's what people usually bring. So
Gotcha. It's really funny because I started this conversation because I wanted tips to get away from the sugar and stuff and to try to, get leaner and meaner for my marathon training. But now that you guys are both kind of like ultra people, what you've done, I think,
Not
more than
really.
anything, trust me, you're way ahead of the game by comparison to me as far as doing incredible mileage. But I think what this is ultimately going to do is finally make me break with the road racing and just start running endless miles like you guys, and so that I can have those burgers and never feel bad about it.
Yeah, you really can eat anything in a race, as long I would say if your body agrees with it, because you could be running 100 miles and hate quesadillas, but it's at that 1 to 8 station, and you're like, I'll try a quesadilla just to get something in there, and you eat like 4 of them because you're like, holy shit, this is really good. Like my body's like agreeing with it, and you're eating foods that you've never eaten before at a buffet at 3 a.m, mile 60 some 70 some.
Yeah, I would imagine time of
Even
day stops mattering after a while.
well,
Right.
even my first trail race, it was only 11 and a half miles, but halfway through it, when I hit the first aid station, it was just so hot and there were so many hills and I was just crashing after halfway through. I get to the aid station and they have just like a buffet there. And I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's confusing. It's because I started out on road seeing what like marathons and half marathons, cups and stuff at an aid station. You have like a Gatorade water or maybe a soda stuff there, as you run through and knock them all over. And When you get to aid stations and ultras, like people are, are passed out, laying around, chugging soup and eating. There's party stuff going on. People are doing shots of things and drinking beers there, and you're like, yeah, a little bit different than road. It makes it more rewarding at times.
It's a completely different vibe than road races.
Yeah, I would imagine. I would imagine a lot friendlier and a lot more of a community, a more tightly knit community.
Yeah, definitely a different mentality. Like if you're running and somebody's like down on the side of the trail or something like that, you're probably going to stop and be like, "Yo, you all right, dude?" Or like, "Can I help you out?" And I think in road running it'd be a little bit different. Like,
yeah, I swear I'm not the guy who says, "Come on, get out of my way, get out of the road."
You roll over.
Keep going. Yeah.
That's funny. So you can get whiskey at aid stations, huh, Richard? Oh man.
Yeah, I've never whiskey. There's Fireball. I think is the big thing in Pennsylvania. I don't know if it's like that around, but
it is in Texas too.
Is it terrible? It's
terrible.
People are like, "Here, you want to do a shot?" And you're like, "No." And some people are like, "Yeah." Boom, boom, and you're like, all right, man.
There's a lot of alcohol at the Little Rock Marathon because I remember I stopped and did a shot of champagne, and then there was another station that had mimosa. There was a station that had Bloody Marys. Oh, wow. There was a wine station. There were 3 beer stations. So just
if you're gonna throw up, you might as well have a good time.
Exactly.
Enjoy it, right?
If you're gonna be miserable, might as well drink.
Yeah, I've had a beer and a shot, not in the same race, but I've had them at races, and it was a good pick me up just because it was exciting and different, and I was bullshitting with the people at the aid station. They're like, "Here, just drink a beer," and I'm like, I'm gonna just drink a beer. And I cracked it open, and I sat there for like 2 or 3 minutes, and I was like, "That's what I needed," and it was a great pick me up, and I wasn't like really buzzed or drunk or nothing because I ran 30, 40 miles already, so like I probably absorbed it and it was burning as I was chugging. Probably,
exactly. Yeah, you're probably burning the alcohol as fuel before it gets to your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, at Little Rock I had champagne at mile 5 and then I had a beer at mile 25.
That is so cool. That is so cool. So we're doing a lot of talking tonight about like ultra running because I'm convinced that my marathon road days are quickly coming to an end here. The more I hear about this, let me ask you about this because this is something that I was thinking about because Susie from over at I Run Things, who cannot join us tonight.
We miss you.
Yeah, we're missing you, Susie. But she's a little under the weather. Hopefully, she can beat it before it gets really bad. But I was watching her latest video, and she was doing a lot of talking about the run, walk, run method. Mm-hmm. And that I think she was kind of talking more in terms of as a beginner way to get into running, but then you can carry it over. And she did a lot of talking about how when she ran her 2 treadmill marathons, she actually ran her first treadmill marathon just straight running. Mm-hmm. And she approached her second one as a run, walk, run, and finished the second one 20 minutes faster than the first one. So that got me thinking about how a small, short, brief section of walking recharges your muscles enough so that you can, when you come back to running, you can continue a higher intensity and overall be faster. So, and I've I remember this is going back to my 5th marathon. The first time I went sub 3, I did not employ run, walk, run on purpose, but I was at like mile 23 and there was the wall waiting for me. And I remember grabbing some Gatorade at an aid station, drank it down, tried to start running again, and I couldn't. My legs just were not there. My body needed a break. So I walked for like maybe a minute or 2. But I'll never forget that feeling of when I finally ramped up to running again, how much better I felt after that little break. And so I would love for you guys to talk about how Run, Walk, Run works in the ultra world. And is it something that you guys plan ahead of time? Like there can be certain sections of time or distance? Just go run with that and just tell me more about that.
Well, I've always used Run, Walk, Run since I started running. And in fact, I set my half marathon PR with Run, Walk. And usually that's just by deciding certain intervals, like, run 3 minutes, walk one. And a lot of people don't realize that, they just think, well, running, walking, it's all using your legs, but it uses different muscles within your legs. And so when you
Mhm.
stop and take a short walk break, you're allowing those running muscles to take a rest while you fire up your walking muscles. And then you can, let them recover for a few seconds and then get back into it. And the idea is to start your run walk before you get tired and not use it as a last resort. And that way you have more energy in reserve at the end of a race. So
That's
that's just what I've always used.
gotcha. Now, do you pre-plan that, like as far as like what kind of distances or time intervals are you do you generally go with?
Yeah, I'll usually have some sort of an interval in mind, like Disney Marathon. I think I was doing a 4 minute run, 1 minute walk, and until I got to the half marathon point, and I was like, "Why am I hurrying? Because this is supposed to be a fun race." And so
Mhm.
I slowed it down to I ran 5 minutes and walked 5 minutes, and that way I would have more time to take pictures with characters and
That's cool.
talk to volunteers at aid stations and stuff like that. So, but yeah, you can definitely set it ahead of time. There are plenty of interval timers that you can use. That's what I do. Is I have one that rings. It gives me one bell when it's time to run and two bells when it's time to walk. And so I just listen for the bell and just automatically go for it.
And you just build that into your Garmin or whatever watch you're using?
I usually use. I have my AfterShocks on, and I have my phone with me because I'm usually listening to a podcast or something like that. So it just
Gotcha.
kind of gives me a little notification.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I when I started running it and I was like all road, walking I thought was frowned upon. So like I always ran, even like I was doing like elevation, not knowing what I was doing. I was doing a couple thousand feet of elevation running on road, and still ran up the hills and stuff because I thought that's what everybody did. Uh, when I switched over to trail, uh, you walk like
Mhm.
a good portion of your race, unless you're like certain elites could run like the 100 miles or whatever. They could run 100 miles, and
Yeah.
they do stop at the aid stations just to swap out bottles and stuff like that. But they run up the mountain stuff as well, and they're able to run down the mountain stuff, which at times the down is
Way worse than the
yeah, that
Yeah.
yeah, if you're not paying attention, you'll die. So
Yeah.
like
If your
uh
quads are not ready for it.
right.
Yep.
So like uh the run walk thing, you learn that very fast because there's no other way around it. You're not going to run up and down these mountains. So
Yeah.
it's at times you're on all four, trying to climb up something
Yeah.
like with rocks and stuff, or you're on all four crab crawling down the side of something because you're not an elite runner that's going to tiptoe across the tops of these rocks. You're going to slowly slide down them because you don't want to die. So
Yeah.
like
Of
The
course.
race I did last summer, there was a super steep hill, like right before that everybody, because everybody had to go down this hill, and then you'd go out to the loop, and then you do however many loops depending on what distance you were doing. But then everybody had to go back up the hill. Nobody ran up that hill. There was no way to do it. There was even one of the more elite runners who sprained his ankle just trying to get up of it. I mean, it was super steep. So I mean, there's no way sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good time to drink.
Yeah, it's a great
Richard
point,
runs trails. Walking steep is a good time to eat and drink. Yes, I'm doing the same thing. The only thing with that is certain mountains that you're climbing puts in so much stress level to where like I can see my heartbeat at times, and I'm like huddled over with hands on knees to where I can't get anything in because I'm gonna pop. But other than that, yeah, you're a good opportunity to slow down and hydrate and stuff like that. And another tip going from road to like trail is I always looked at elevation for the courses for like road and be like, oh, okay, so I could probably make up some time going down here and whatever. That's different when you're getting on trail, when you see like giant pitches and you're like, okay, it's going to be slow there, but I'll make it up on the downhill. Sometimes there is no downhill.
Yeah.
It's you're crawling. So like when you're trying to build in like time frames of like, oh, I'm going to go slow here and go faster here, unless you are aware of what the course is, sometimes it's not going to happen the way that you think it's going to happen, you know.
See you later, Sean. Have a good night.
And hello, Frugal Mama.
Yes. Hello, hello, hello. I didn't get a chance to say hello before. That's
yeah, I do
awesome.
know
So-
that the 50K I'm doing this spring at around mile 5, we have to climb up Pinnacle Mountain. I mean, I've seen Pinnacle Mountain. I've watched videos of it, and I mean, it's literally a climb up a mountain. So, you know, that's going to be a. But then go back up it again once I go back. So there is that. Because when we come back after the mountain, instead of going back up the mountain again, they're going to put us going around the mountain and back to the start.
I got you. So Brian, I've got a question. Like, you were talking before about, you know, of course there are going to be places, especially the more extreme trail races, where you're literally climbing, like you said, and you don't have a choice. You're not going to be running that even if you wanted to. But are there places like where you're walking because you've like, say you've studied the course map well enough, you know there's going to be, it's just plain going to be scenic, even if it is runnable. Like you just want to, you know, you're going to want to be just walking and enjoying it, you know, at certain points in the race.
Yeah, well, because I do like social media stuff, there are areas that I know are going to be pretty that I've usually, especially since I try to keep my races like local to my state type area. Because traveling is just too expensive and too much time. Unless I get into like a big like Western states or something like that, I would travel to go to one of those. But like
that would be so cool.
Yeah, I like to keep everything like more local. So when I do those races, I've been on pretty much the whole course before, so I know what's going on. And usually like, oh, there's a great vista view here, but I'll be doing that during nighttime hours. Like it might be between like midnight and 5 a.m. I'll be on the course, so I won't see that view. But there'll be other views like the last 100 miler I did. I stopped on mile 35. I know there was a big view there, and I took a nice little video and selfie off. And it was a good mental, like, you know, go ahead and enjoy the moment before you throw up, you know. and I was myself together, and like, you know, there'd be sometimes there's even people there, you know, taking selfies, and I'd be like, hey, you want me to take? Here, give me your phone. I'll take a picture of you, you know, and you enjoy the moment with everybody at certain locations. So yeah, I have certain areas that are pre-thought out, and then other than that, sometimes I'll get to them and I'm really like struggling to breathe or not throw up, and I don't pull out a camera, and it's like, oh, this was going to be one of those nice photo areas, but like I can't, you know, think of anything other than dying or not dying, you know. So like I skip it. So
that's very cool. That's very cool. So guys, I want to kind of bring it in here. I'm going to try to keep it on the topic of sort of extreme effort here, like we've been talking about. But I kind of want to talk a little bit, at least, just to be true to the title of this particular live stream, or the way I titled it, and talk a little bit about sort of the extremes of winter training and the challenges of that. And do you guys, just like off the top of your head, what are kind of like the first things you think of as far as like running tips for people who are maybe this is their first winter as a runner, and the kind of things that you would recommend they do or don't do?
If there's ice, don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
not an
not
ice
worth
fan. Yeah. No, I definitely do not like the colder temperatures. I'm more of a summer person, and but as a trail ultra runner, you go out in everything. So if it's hurricane without like lightning, I guess I don't do.
Yeah,
You
lightning's
know,
bad.
you go out there, same thing. If it's snowy, ice and I would say ice and lightning are my two like no's. So like because it's kind of hard to run on ice without breaking something, and so I try to stay away from that stuff. But you still want to go out into the extreme conditions, because when you're on race day, you might run into some extreme conditions, and at least you're a little bit more mentally prepared for the suck. So when winter time, I just layer up. That's all. Like multiple, excuse me, I have multiple t-shirts on with like a hoodie or two, and then a jacket, and make sure that you're, maybe double up on socks, and make sure you have gloves and stuff. But I still go out in the extreme weather, because you never know what you're going to hit race day. So,
because a lot of races will go rain or shine, so you might as well practice running in the rain just in case.
Yeah, I actually enjoy running in the rain. Now, as far as the ice goes, I'll pass. That's when I'll get on the treadmill, whether I like it or not. But I don't know if you guys saw it. Just kind of on the subject, total side note here, but I don't know if you guys follow Ben is Running. He's a young British guy who he's getting more and more popular, but he's got a great channel, and he just posted a video of him. He was running his track workout, and the track was just ice. It was just ice all the way around, and he was out there. He was not doing the little careful steppy. He was flying. And I was just sitting there just cringing, waiting to watch him go down. But man,
I couldn't watch it.
It was rough.
A couple of things I've learned about running in the cold is that especially you want to keep your torso and your neck warm as possible, because that is where the majority of your blood flow is going to go. If your blood gets warm in there, it will carry warmth to other parts of your body. So if you focus on torso and neck, that's going to help a whole lot. Also, if you tend to get cold hands a lot when you run and you wear gloves, you may want to switch to mittens, because a lot of times what your fingers need is they need to be together to warm each other up, and they're separated in gloves, so it's harder for them to get warmth from each other. So if you tend to get icy hands a lot, switch to mittens, because a lot of times that'll help.
Yeah, I love the gloves that are true gloves, but then they have the sort of mitten pullover thing,
the fold
just
over,
to give you the extra layer. Yeah, but now how are you guys? Especially you, Brian, as a ultra guy, who, like you said, has to be ready for the extremes, because that race is going to go on anyway. Is there ever a time when you are on the treadmill?
This year I am doing treadmill work, which I despise the treadmill. It's too boring for me. But the location, like I moved from country to like city area, and I do Planet Fitness now, and I run to Planet Fitness, which is a mile and a half from my house. So I run there, and I do about 5 miles on a treadmill, but I put it at 15%. So it's around 750 feet of gain per mile on there. Wow. I get a few thousand feet of like fast hiking on there, because I do intervals on it. So I'll do like 3/4 of a mile on like speed 4 or 5, and then like I'll do 1/4 of a mile, like two up too faster, and like run it. And then I just have my headset in, watch 1 million TVs that are up there, and watch maybe YouTube or listen to a podcast and close my eyes and just zone out, just so I could get the mechanics and the muscle work in there, and then I run back home, and then I want to keep my mileage low, but with good elevation gain and stuff like that, and then work out, core and upper body, to try to get a good balance, and that's for the winter time. And then when the weather becomes a little bit better and more tolerable, I stay away from the treadmill and I just go out and run. That's all.
Yeah, that's what I'm all about. Yeah, until the really bad weather. I've been on the treadmill way too much the last couple of weeks because of winter showed up out of nowhere to North Carolina. Finally, it'll probably be gone next week. But,
I see the value in the treadmill, especially for if you have no other choice, treadmill. But I'm having a good time. As I said, I jack it up as high as I could go, and it hurts. So like, there's many elite runners that like train for huge races, and all they have time for is treadmill. Like they have kids or their jobs, or like they're like, yeah, I put in 90% of my elevation training on a treadmill, and it's like, yeah, good for you, man.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I've told this story before, but even as like a road guy myself, the biggest training block I ever did for a marathon was where I peaked I did this once, only one time. The training, it was an 18-week training block, and it peaked at 120 miles a week. I did that once just because I wanted to see if I could do it. It was more of I just wanted to prove that, I either could do it or I couldn't do it. And I made it. But the reason I'm telling the story is because every single run of that 18-week training block was on a treadmill. Did not touch the roads until the race day.
Terrible.
Oh, it was going to a different state of mind. It was just, it made it, in all truth, it made the race seem like a joke, because like to be outside and running. Oh, we just dropped Heather. Hopefully she can get back on. But it made the race seem so easy, just because like all the distractions of the real world were like, oh wow, this is great. I'm enjoying myself.
There's no way that I would put in that type of training on a treadmill.
Yeah, that was back in my Planet Fitness days. Just about, because I was going there in between my first treadmill, which broke down, and then whatever is like a year and a half ago, I bought a new one. But there was a period there where Planet Fitness was my treadmill. So out there. So at least there were people around me, and I could always talk to the person who was next to me while I was putting in the mileage.
Yeah, I don't talk to people. I'm a very
Hi.
What's up? I'm very social.
The internet hiccuped.
but when I go to a place like Planet Fitness, I feel like old creepy guy. So like I really don't make too much eye contact, and I'm just in my own little world and stuff like that, because there's like 2 or 3 colleges around my area, so there's like everybody is young and fit, and like I feel like old creepy guy. So
I remember that specifically.
The TikToks of like people seeing how people are old and creepy, and I'm like, damn it. Like I definitely like if I make eye contact with someone, I just put my head down and just keep my training going.
On that exact subject, back in my Planet Fitness days, again, for anybody who's never been to Planet Fitness, at least the one by me has a huge double bank of treadmills like that. Each bank is like, there's 25 minimum in a row, and then there's a bank of that in front of it. And over that entire area, there is one gigantic ceiling fan, that is probably 20 feet wide, like with these huge blades, just to keep the air moving. And because of the location of that fan, the most used treadmills are going to be the ones that are directly below the fan, because that's where all the air is moving. And I remember me and there were a handful of other guys who were like in their 40s or 50s who were all runners, and I'd see them there all the time. And we all at one point or another ended up having the same conversation of, oh man, all these girls and these younger women, they must think I'm super creepy because I'm always coming up to them and running on the treadmill beside them. And it has nothing to do with the fact that I'm trying to even say hello to them.
Yep.
But they're underneath the fan, and I'm not going to run over there where it's like twice as hot. So it was just terrible. But, you know, it was one of those things where you just kind of try to explain yourself.
Yep. I usually just nod like, hey, what's up? And then I go into my own little world and I try not to bother anybody.
Yep. Yep.
Because I'm not there to like make friends and hit on people. I'm there to get my run in so I can get home because I got, you know, other things to worry about. So
yeah, I was always known as the crazy guy because I'd be the guy who got on the treadmill and like I'd be on it for an hour or more, and everybody else would be looking at me like, who's the crazy guy who won't stop running?
Yeah, sometimes I just have to do treadmill just because, you know, if there's lightning, if there's ice, and then of course with 2 kids at home, sometimes I have to be at home because the kids are there. So I find ways to, you know, entertain myself. I'll have my tablet or my phone there and I'll watch YouTube videos or I'll listen to podcasts. A lot of times I reserve podcasts for just when I'm running. So
me too.
that's something that I can look forward to is I get to listen to this podcast. And then there is a YouTube channel called Strides and Summits. And his channel is nothing but scenery. So that you can put it up and watch it while you're running. So you can at least have some scenery to look at. There's also an app that does the same thing called BitGym. And you can set that up with the tablet or your phone, and it uses your camera to track you so that the scenery moves at the same speed that you're running.
No way. All right.
Yeah.
I'm in.
And plus, it's like it goes to like famous locations, and like one of my favorites is running through Paris, and it'll give you, if you can have a setting on it where it will give you information about the stuff that you're passing, so you get kind of a little tour of the different places. And so it has like famous
is there a Star Wars setting?
Can
you go into like Tatooine and stuff?
That would be so cool.
Awesome.
That would be awesome. Or I would love to like run through Middle Earth. That would be cool too.
Yeah, that'd be pretty. There you go. There's an idea for you.
I'm still amazed by Zwift and the ability to run in their virtual worlds. I've only tried it like 2 or 3 times, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yep. I do a lot of that, Andrew. Yeah. The big thing is remembering to actually go back after the fact and add comments. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I download everybody's stuff because I have YouTube Premium, so I download everything. I watch everything at work because I don't have a cell phone reception at work.
Oh,
so
okay.
I put a lot of like YouTube viewing stuff.
As videos come out, I pop it over to my watch later list, and so then when I have time to actually sit down, then I can put on everybody's videos. One
thing that's really cool too that I have for the next 4 months left, I've got my 1-year subscription when I bought my treadmill. The iFit subscription that comes with it. If you buy a Proform or a Nordic Track, I think is the other, because they're the same company really. When you get iFit, it comes like, you know, like they've got like a whole lot of videos that you can watch that are like related videos to running or whatever the case might be, walking, hiking. And as the instructor takes you through their video, wherever they are in the world, the elevation on the treadmill shifts and when they're going uphill, you're going uphill and all that kind of stuff. And you can even set it to where the speeds change when they want to speed up or slow down. But my favorite thing, the thing that I keep reusing more than anything, is you can actually, through iFit, go to Google Maps and go anywhere in the world that's mappable. That's like, that will give you Street View. And you can actually map out your own route. And I've run through Paris before. I've never been to Paris, but I feel like I have been because I've run so many streets in Paris. It's kind of neat.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That
Lags
sounds pretty
sometimes.
interesting.
It depends on the speed of your Wi-Fi, but yeah, it can be really neat. But folks, believe it or not, I look up and we are at an hour already. So I want to give everybody an opportunity to talk about what's coming up on your channel and what people can look forward to when they subscribe to you, because everybody, these guys are the best, and their channels are awesome. I watch every video that comes out from these guys, so I can only recommend to everybody who's watching this in real time or after the fact, please go over to their channels and get subscribed, because there's lots of fun to be had. So Heather, let's reverse the order here. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media and what's coming up.
All right. Well, I'm Heather, and I'm Running Geek Girl on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And let's see, mostly this coming up is going to be a lot of my 50K training, as well as the usual informational stuff that I like to put out, like Running Geek Girl Book Club. I'm going to be doing another episode of Run the USA, where we're looking at the most recommended races in every state as recommended by runners. And so I've got Hawaii coming up, so that'll be fun. But yeah, that's what I've got coming up. So please subscribe.
Cool.
We'd love to have you there.
Very cool.
Cool. I'm Rosser from Rosser Runs. I'm on TikTok, IG, and like Facebook as well. I'm in World's End 100K training mode now. I'm on injury reserve at the moment. I pulled like sort of a hernia type-esque injury. That's like a pulled muscle there. So I'm going to PT like several times a week. So right now the channel has like, I'm going to be doing more vlogging and just product reviews until I'm up to like training, and then I'll be able to get back on the trails. But like even today I went and did a small hike in the snow, so you know that'll be part of my vlogging stuff. Still getting out there, still getting certain things done, but not hardcore training to where I want to be. But I guess I'm learning patience as well. So yeah, I run a lot, but this year I'm trying to balance it on my channel.
That's kind of where I am. I'm kind of focusing a lot more on the quality of a run than the quantity right now.
There you go.
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I kind of need to learn that balance myself. I think I'm overdoing it. But everybody, you've already found my channel, obviously. But yeah, what's coming up for me? I think I've got 7 weeks at this point, just 7.5 weeks till race day for me, which will be the Tobacco Road Marathon in Cary, North Carolina. That'll happen on March 20th. And that's where I will be attempting to, for a second time, to run a 2:45 marathon. We'll see if it happens. Right now, I'm feeling incredibly burnt out and tired, but you know, hopefully that passes. So beyond that, beyond my weekly training vlog, I have a series of product review videos coming out on my channel for shoes, for massage guns, for clothing. And anybody who's been around my channel for a little while knows that it's been a while since I've done product reviews. So nice big shift in focus a little bit there. So yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned. There's some cool stuff coming up that will hopefully save people money. If that's probably the one thing that everything has in common as far as what I'm reviewing.
Cool.
So yeah, cool. Thank you for joining us, everybody. I had a lot of fun as always. I can't believe it's an hour. It always blows my mind, but you know, these hours fly by. I love these masters of YouTube people that I'm sharing the screen with, as well as Susie.
I believe next week, not next week, next month will be on Susie's channel.
Yes, very true, very true. So Susie, get better. You're going to be hosting. So we'll see everybody there, and thank you again for being with us. We'll catch you next month. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.